What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to bring you a long-term review of my laptop. This Lenovo P1. This is a Gen 2 and I've had it for about a year now, so I wanted to get a review of it up to kind of give an idea of who may be for, who may not be for. And you can currently get these for a really good deal through the Lenovo outlet if you're looking at that, because they're on, I believe, the Gen 3 right now, and the Gen 4 is probably on its way. So this is a 15-inch Thinkpad Windows laptop. As for just some general specs, it has 6-core processor. I believe it's Intel 8th gen, but it has an Intel 6-core processor. It has the NVIDIA, I believe it's the P1000 graphics card in it. This is not going to be a gaming laptop. You could probably do some gaming on it, but I use this mainly for photo and video editing and just general productivity tasks. So I never played games on it. If you're looking to get a gaming laptop, this is not what I would recommend. But those are the general specs. Has NVMe SSD in it. It actually has 2 in it now. I put 1 in myself because it has 2 actually slots in it. It has the Dolby Vision display on it, the HD display. I don't need a 4K display on a laptop. I went with the 1080p one to get a little bit better battery life out of it. So I paid, I think, around $1,300 for it. I got a discount through work, so it was a little bit cheaper. But if I was purchasing this now, I would get it through the outlet and try to get it for, so I've seen it for $900 at times through there, but you just have to check that website pretty frequently. So when it comes to the keypad, the keyboard, trackpad, everything along there, the keyboard's great. Lenovo ThinkPads are some of the best keyboards out there. This has spill resistance on it, so you can spill a little bit of water on it and it will supposedly just drain through the bottom. I've never done that before, but it's going to be a little more rugged than, say, a MacBook Pro or something along that lines. Touchpad is just average. It's fairly small. If you look at it, it's not the largest touchpad out there. I believe it is glass, but it kind of has a rubbery texture to it, so it may not be. But it works fairly easily. Again, it's not a MacBook Pro type touchpad, but it does work okay. You do have your actual mouse clicks there, and you have your little red pointer there, which I don't use anymore. I used to use that fairly often in the past, but I do not use that that much anymore. So you do also have Windows Hello, so you have a webcam here, which it'll unlock with your face when you set it up. It's okay. It's not anything like an iPhone, the Face ID there, but it does work. Especially with good lighting, it will be fairly quick, but when you get in bad lighting, it doesn't work all that well. And you have a fingerprint reader, which is just average compared to some of the new laptops out there. But besides that, it's pretty good. The display is where I think this thing really shines. So this is their Dolby Vision. I believe it's 500 nits. It's either 400 or 500 nits, which is plenty bright enough. It will get, doesn't look bright here because I got lights up there, but it's a really, really nice display. Color accurate, great for video or photo editing, or if you're doing any type of CAD work, anything that requires color accuracy. This is a fairly color accurate monitor or laptop display. Looks nice. I don't think you need the 4K. I would stick with the 1080p, especially if you get the Dolby Vision one, mainly because of battery life. So that's the one big thing with 15-inch laptops is battery life has really came a long way. If you look at the new MacBook Pros, the new MacBook Air, if you look at the XPS 15, they all get really good battery life, close to 10 hours. And as far as battery life for this, I get anywhere between 6 and 8 to 10 around there. Usually you can definitely get 6 to 8 out of it without having any problems. I find the battery life is just all over the place when you check it, but we don't really get out or travel much now because of everything with COVID, so I haven't had any testing with that. I do use it outside fairly frequently, and you can get 3 or 4 days out of it with moderate use without charging it, but generally I don't steer clear of the charger that much. It mainly stays plugged in or inside, so it only has an 80-watt battery, which is kind of low compared to some of the XPS 15 gets like, I think it has a 99-watt or 99-watt battery in it, so not the largest battery, but plan to get, you could probably get 8 hours pretty easily out of this on a day-to-day basis. Now if you're doing anything like any Adobe products, Photoshop, Adobe Premiere, I would say 5 or 6 hours would be the max there when you start pressing and start using that GPU and CPU more. So besides that, battery life's pretty good. The speakers on this are awful. It's supposed to have Dolby Atmos speakers, but they fire from the bottom. Oh, let's see if I can find them. So they're really teeny tiny. They fire here from the bottom. They're okay. They're not anything like a MacBook Pro, or the new Dell SPX 15 has a much better speaker system in it. And some of the newer ThinkPads, like the X1, the 10th gen has where they're starting to put the speakers at the top, and they just sound a little bit better. So the speakers aren't great, but you do have plenty of ports, which is something I like. So SD card slot, regular USBs. You have a headphone, 2 USB Type-C, Thunderbolt, whatever you want to call them. I believe they're USB Type-C. You have standard HDMI, no Ethernet, but you do get a dongle to do Ethernet there. And then you have Lenovo proprietary charger. I would love to have seen a USB-C charger on here instead of that, but whatever. So plenty of ports, which is nice nowadays because a lot of laptops are going away from all that. So you could plug just about anything you want into this. When it comes to the build quality, it's a ThinkPad. It's built like a tank. I haven't dropped it or anything, but I feel like I probably could and it would withstand the time. The only negative is that this thing is disgusting after a couple of days of use. You get so many fingerprints and gunk on it. It just doesn't do the best job of staying clean like an all aluminum case would do. So you do have to wipe it down. I wipe it down like twice a week because it just really gets disgusting. I mean, you get stuff and gunk. It just, I don't know why all ThinkPads are like that, but as far as build quality goes, it's a top-notch, well-built machine. I believe it's some type of military grade, whatever specs they use, but it's gonna, as long as you don't abuse it, it should last the lifetime of however long you want to keep it. Thermals. So this thing does not run cool, especially when you're doing video editing. This CPU will run between 80 and 95 degrees if you're really pushing it. So it does get a little warm. The fans are a little loud. I wish the cooling system was a little better in it, especially after being a year old. I noticed that it gets a little bit warmer. I've played with the different settings in the BIOS with cooling management, and they all work okay, but it does run a little bit warmer than I would like. So that's really all there is to say there. Just have 2 fans on it, but it doesn't do the best job of cooling. I just think it needs to be a little bit thicker. It's a pretty thin laptop, but I think if it was a little bit thicker, it would do a little bit better at the cooling. What else? Accessibility, you can get in this fairly easily. There's screws at the bottom, captive screws, so you take those off. You have to pry this off, so you got to be careful with that. And you can get to the RAM. It has 2 NVMe SSD slots, so you can get to those. You can get to the Wi-Fi card. All those can be replaced. The battery can be replaced. It's fairly easy to replace if you need to do that. So if you're looking to get a laptop and keep it for 5, 6, 7 years, especially if you're can take it apart and you maybe want to redo the thermal paste on the CPU or GPU, you could probably get 5 years out of this fairly easily. So that being said, I would still highly recommend this to anyone looking for a 15-inch laptop. I wouldn't get to 4K panel just because the battery life, from what I've read, is 30 to 40% less than the 1080p. And if you get the Dolby Vision display, it's very color accurate, it's very bright. So I think it's kind of a good happy medium. I wouldn't get the standard HD display on this. I would try to get the Dolby Vision one if you can. So that's really it. Try to find an outlet. I've seen them for $800-900 before, which I think is a pretty good deal for a 15-inch laptop on the standards. Last thing, warranty support. Lenovo's warranty support, I think, has gone downhill. I've had to call them once because there was something when I tried to update the BIOS, which it does automatically. Something happened, it wasn't turned on, and their support just, I don't think it's the greatest anymore. I was actually able to take it to Micro Center and they fixed it for me because Lenovo's depot warranty does allow you to take it to authorized repairs places, which Micro Center is. So that was nice, but they're online. Actually calling them, I didn't have the best experience with that. But overall, pretty happy with the laptop. am kind of wishing I would have had a little bit smaller laptop because I have a desktop, but maybe a 13, 14-inch laptop, something that gets a little bit more to the 10 to 15 hour battery life, like the new M1 MacBooks, which can get, the new M1 MacBook Pro is reported to get 18 to 20 hours of battery life, which is amazing. That's the only thing. If you're going to lug this around a lot, maybe look into something with a little bit better battery life, but I would still recommend it, especially if you can get it under $1,000 at the outlet. That's the only way I'd buy it. I don't know if I would spend the $1,600, $1,700 on this new. Even for the Gen 3 or Gen 4, I would probably try to get it through the outlet and do it that way. So that's it. If you have any questions, comments, leave this below. I will probably keep this for a little bit longer. They are currently selling on eBay for anywhere between $900 to $1,500. So I think it's held up fairly well when it comes to its retail and how much it's probably still worth. Again, comments, questions, leave them below. I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching and have a good rest of the weekend, and I'll see you guys next time.